Tonight, you all know Neil. He's given us talks before. He gives great write-ups in the newsletter. I think Ron wishes we had more people like Neil to assist him in the newsletter, getting good articles. Tonight he's going to give us a talk on small town Alberta commemoratives memorabilia. Okay?
I was asked to talk about small town collectibles, and when I got looking at my own collection of postcards, I found that there's some places that you can hardly find any collectibles, and then there's others, probably even of the same size, towns that had all kinds of collectibles. And so what I decided to do was to take 3 different areas of the province and to talk about them. So we're going to talk a little bit about collectibles from Waterton National Park, from Castor, Alberta, and Stettler, Alberta. And these places in particular did have photographers there to make quite a contribution to what we now know about these particular places today. So we're going to start off with Waterton, and as you can see, it's in the southeast corner of the province, and it was probably the smallest of Alberta's national parks. Charles Waterton, who lived from 1782 to 1865, explored the Antilles, United States, and South America, where it is said he once rode an alligator. This conservationist and naturalist retired to his estate in West Yorkshire, where he established the world's first nature preserve. Thomas Blakiston, who lived from 1832 to 1891, a fellow naturalist, was a lieutenant in the Royal Artillery who was part of the Palliser expedition that explored Western Canada. When he discovered the chain of lakes, he gave them the name of his hero, Charles Waterton. The town site is known as Waterton, and the Waterton Park Post Office was opened in 1915. Another view of the town site. Blakiston's name is found in Waterton Park with Blakiston Falls, Blakiston Creek, and Mount Blakiston. And here you see Lake Lynette in Waterton Park. Another town, black and white of Waterton. The Kootenai Lodge and Gift Shop. If any of you were into the plate collecting scheme around 1970 to 1980, the big thing about this Kootenai gift shop was they had a complete collection of the Royal Copenhagen Christmas plates from 1908 to the present time. And people used to go to this shop just to see this collection of Christmas plates. This is the RCMP station in Waterton. Now the interesting thing about this one is it's taken by the Cross studio. Now Cross, of course, was part of the Stampede, the first Stampede, and he had a photography studio out of Lethbridge. And this is a Cross photo from Waterton Park. And Vimy Ridge, of course, from Waterton Lake, in Waterton Lakes. And the administration building in Waterton, Alberta. And the main street in Waterton, probably around 1940 to 50. The Prince of Wales Hotel is probably the landmark of in Waterton, and it was opened on July 25th, 1927. It is named for the Prince of Wales, who later became Edward VIII. Although Edward visited Alberta in 1927, he actually never stayed at the hotel. He stayed in a ranch in the area close to the hotel. The hotel is unique in that it was built by the Great Northern Railway, an American railway company. In 1995, the Prince of Wales Hotel became a National Historic Site. And this shows, and this is what it was like inside. It's very interesting that Waterton Lakes had this public outdoor swimming pool from the early 50s on. And the aerial view of the town site. Red Rock Canyon, Waterton Lakes. And Cameron was also a part of the Palliser expedition. This is the Cameron Lake. More. Cameron Falls in Waterton. Now, in 1932, Waterton became part of the Waterton Glacier National Parks as a symbol of peace, goodwill, and cooperation between Canada and the United States. And this boat goes between the two countries, and it continues to this day to be considered an international national park. And Mount Crandall and Bertha Lake, Mount Cleveland. Now we're going to take a look at Castor, Alberta. It's about 140 miles east of Red Deer. Before the railway arrived, it was not exactly located where it is today. It was a little bit east of that town and was known as Williston, and named after Williston in North Dakota. And the reason it was named Williston is because a lot of the settlers came from that area in North Dakota. And this is the first church in Castor. As you can see, it's an old soddy, and the first building in Castor. Apparently the CPR didn't like the name of Williston and decided on the name Castor, which is the name of the creek and the beaver dam on which the town is located. The main street is called Beaver Street. Castor is Latin for the word beaver. It was incorporated as a village in 1909 and the town the following year. Castor continues to serve the agricultural needs of the area. This is Grand Street in Castor. And the residential neighborhood. Beaver Street in Castor. And Grand Avenue in Castor. And here's an aerial view much later. But very interesting how photographers in this very small town produce so many photos and postcards of this town.
Is that because of prominent photographers, do you think, or is that just because of?
I think there was a couple of prominent photographers there, yes, and they just produced all kinds of real photo postcards and postcards of the area. And we're going now to Stettler, Alberta, which is just located 74 miles east of Red Deer. And of course known for the train and everything that goes on today in Stettler. It was named after Carl Stettler, who lived from 1861 to 1819. Stettler was born in Switzerland and as a young man came to the United States. He moved to Alberta in 1903 and established a Swiss-German colony called Blumenau, which was west of the present site of Stettler. Blumenau Post Office was established in 1905. When the CPR arrived later that year, Stettler moved the entire town to the present site on the CPR line. So here you have the cattle from that area and street scenes. This is Alberta Avenue. This is kind of a comedy, One Out for a Drive in Stettler, Alberta.
Formaldehyde.
And horse and carriage. Traffic jam. And the fire department in Stettler. And an aerial view of the street. Looks like a parade, doesn't it?
What time would that be, Neil?
Probably about 1910, something like that. And it's not often that you see great big public schools like this one, but Stettler had this massive school for from the very early 1900s.
How big an area would that cover for children?
Must have covered a lot of the area.
That's massive.
Yeah. And this is a residential neighborhood in Stettler. (1947). And this is probably about the same time. And that is it. Are there any questions?
How big is Castor?
It's still a town, so it'd probably be 7,000 to 8,000 in around there. And it's been kind of one of my goals to go and take some pictures today of Castor to see what if there's anything the same or if it's changed. I haven't been to it. Yes.
The ferry in Waterton that goes between Canada and the U.S.
Yes.
Do you know anything about their typical, like, is that tourism or is that getting people?
No, it's tourism.
It's tourism.
Yeah. Yes.
I know for a fact as of 2 years ago, Castor only has about 1,000 people living there.
Oh, is that right?
Right, I visited there, I have some friends there.
Oh, thanks for telling us.
But they have 3 museums. They do.
Is that
They
right?
have a pharmacy museum,
Uh-huh.
a dentist museum, and the general museum. Because when I picked up my Castor match folder,
Mm-hmm.
I tried to get some information, and I went to the website,
And they have, their historical book was called Beaver Tales and Stories or something. But